So it's Thursday, August 9th, 2025, and it was a pretty terrible night for Russia from the 8th to the 9th. Ukraine was hammering away at Russian oil and gas. Let's talk about this full story. Overnight, Russia's Kotovo gas processing facility is facing a hardship. I'll say that looks like a hardship. Unconfirmed reports say Russia's oil refinery in Kvoto, Volgograd Oblast is on fire after a drone attack, and I just showed you some of that. Ukrainian drones struck the Lukoil Krotrospiki, slaughtered that name, gas processing plant in Kvoto, Volgograd region. This key facility was processing several billion cubic meters of raw gas annually. Now, there was also other attacks as well. Ukrainian attack drone successfully struck Russia's Ifimovka oil pumping station. The station, a key node in the Kubyshev-Tinhorsk pipeline that moves Urals crude to the Black Sea, was set ablaze as Ukraine continues its campaign to target Russia's pipeline. Now, I want to point out the Urals crude. Okay, so refinery ability has been diminished significantly since August 1st. If you're attacking now a pipeline that's moving crude, they can't, like, the Russians are selling more crude than they were selling before instead of refined products. So if you're attacking a pipeline that's moving crude, you give them a whole different problem set. Crude is not the same as refined products. It's the pre-refined product. Okay, this pipeline is a key Russian route that transfers crude from the Urals to Russian refineries and export infrastructure on the Black Sea. And so that's an interesting thing for them to be targeting so that they can't actually do that. Firms detected that the pipeline station was on fire from NASA firms. Okay, so another good hit. Okay, at least 5 drones. This is another attack. At least 5 drones have reportedly struck the oil refinery and railway station at Matviv Kurgan, Rostov Oblast. And what are we talking about here? This is a drone strike on an oil depot here, and it's another big hit. So at least 3 major strikes last night. Okay, overnight, 112 Russian attack drones, mostly Shahed, by 9 a.m. Ukrainian air defense had shot down or jammed 87 drones across north, south, and east. 22 strikes hit 12 locations. So are the Russians doing something back to the Ukrainians? Certainly they are. According to preliminary information from the mayor of Kontop, Russia struck a train carrying people in the Chernihiv region. Details are still emerging. The attack appears to be yet another deliberate attack on civilian infrastructure. Just a civilian train, no military value or purpose. Footage of Ukrainian Marines downing a Russian Shahed attack drone near point-blank range using a French-supplied Mistral SAM system. I caught it at this moment in the video where you can see just how close the drone is to the truck as they're firing at it. Like, that's wow. Okay. On 8 October, Russian troops struck a residential neighborhood. This is yesterday during daylight hours, leaving. I mean, it was just striking homes. You can see this is just a house on fire, right? This is in the middle of the day. Less than an hour later, a Russian drone slammed into an apartment building. Again, these are not military targets. There's no military value here in striking this guy's house. Okay, firefighters were also struck again in a double tap yesterday, struck mid-rescue in Chernihiv when a second Shahed drone hit the same grocery store that they just responded to. You'll notice that what I've just reported is Ukrainian struck an oil depot, a gas refining facility, a pipeline that ships crude, and the Russians were striking a house, another house, and here a train. I mean, it's just, and a grocery store, right? I mean, it's just, okay. Bloomberg reports that recent Russian strikes destroyed now this is actually military value, finally. Bloomberg reports that recent Russian strikes destroyed over half of Ukraine's domestic gas production, forcing Kyiv to seek emergency fuel imports worth about $1.9 billion to get through the winter. Okay. Now, Yesterday, I was talking about this and I said, well, it's not the same for Ukraine as it is for Russia. Yeah, it's bad. Hitting the gas production facilities destroyed that and is creating this kind of headache. But Ukraine doesn't like export gas at this, or if they do, it's not the same rate that the Russians do, where it's a third of their budget. According to sources, massive October 3rd attacks on energy sites on Kharkiv and Poltava regions wiped out roughly 60% of national output. So they do produce gas, and it is going to hurt them, but it's a different scenario. Okay, on the battlefield, day over day, 1,020 Russians off the battlefield, one tank, one armored fighting vehicle, 15 artillery systems, and 55 vehicles and fuel tanks. All these numbers are reasonably low, and 1020 is about average. 980, 1020, about 1,000 is the average as for the last few months, and moving forward toward December, I think that'll be about average. Engagements are up and casualties are above average. In the Pacross direction, again, we focus on Pacross, but that might be shifting, and I'll explain why. Pacross direction, 37 assaults. It's on the low side, but still within the norm. Now, here's why it might be shifting. Russia's top general, Gerasimov, told Putin that the main goal of the new offensive is seizing Primorsk and Stefanorhisk in the Zaporizhia region, with fresh assaults planned for in Dnipropetrovsk. He added that the priority is now targeting Ukraine missile and drone production facilities. Okay, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, because it's Gerasimov. Maybe that is a new priority. Maybe it's not. Maybe something will shift away from the Pacross axis. It appears, and this is from Euromaidan Press, that Russia has pulled major brigades from Pacross axis to intensify its offensive near Novopolivka. Okay, so maybe we'll have to look over there as well. The full 90th Tank Division and elements of the 41st Army are now positioned closer to Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, according to the ISW. So we'll just keep our eye on that situation. It's fluid. According to Ukrainian officials, as many as 25,000 Cubans could soon be fighting for Russia. The operative word here is could be. It's not that they are. We know that there are 5,000 there, and we'll keep our eye on that. We don't know that that's actually going to happen. But 25,000 Cubans would be far larger than the number of North Koreans as a contingent of foreign troops on the battlefield. But this would truly make this a world war in a real sense. It's not just Russia and its neighbors of Belarus and North Korea, which hug each side of Russia. Reaching to Cuba is just changes it in some material way. Russian drones aren't just spying, they're herding soldiers into fight, Ukrainian military revealed. On the Pacross front, drones dictate every step, forcing Russian troops to attack despite injuries. Ukraine reported over 100 invaders killed daily in the area. So drones are used not just to attack things, but to, be able to see what's going on, to direct their forces, to move their forces. Again, drones are just so significant. Here's drone footage over the front line Pacross city in Donetsk Oblast, showing what's left after daily shelling, and it's not a lot. Russians continue to raze the city to the ground. This is the way that they know how to fight. And historically, what they would have done is do this with just our simple artillery and just smash everything in its way. Now it's artillery led by drones or targeted by drones. Okay. Ukraine's ex-president Poroshenko delivered 25 AI Petri EW electronic warfare systems to Ukraine's army, a record batch shielding the front line from Russian recon drones and guided bombs. The systems were designed from scratch and state contracted. So this is a great thing for those troops to have some kind of electronic warfare shield. It's not going to work against fiber optic drones, but it'll work against all the rest. While speeding at 90 kilometers per hour in a pickup truck, a 24-year-old Ukrainian soldier, Edward, shot down a Russian FPV drone with an automatic rifle. It's nearly impossible, this kind of strike, against a fast, maneuverable target, and made him a platoon commander of interceptor drones. This guy, Yeah, I got to stress, it's a very unusual thing. People will say, "Well, why don't you just shoot it down?" Like they do train them to shoot down drones with shotgun blasts, but still, shooting down a little FPV drone is a very, very difficult task. Here are Russian T-62 tanks destroyed in eastern Ukraine. The 1960s era tank lies beside a wrecked BMP infantry fighting vehicle, both fitted with anti-drone gills somewhere in the fields of Donbass. Yeah, well, you had anti-drone devices and it didn't seem to work so well for you, and that's just where they are. Tanks are just not the big 800-pound gorilla on the battlefield that they once were. Now drones are significant. Czechia will transfer 30 modernized tanks, but again, and this is good. It's good to have something in the arsenal. They have enhanced armor on them, but again, drones are the real leader on the battlefield. Tail boom view of a Ukrainian Mi-24 Hind helicopter gunship attack run over the Eastern Front. I just thought this was kind of cool to watch. And then there's a unique operation. A drone with a self-destruction system landed on a Russian 9A-316 launcher loaded with 9M-317 missiles, traveled on it for about 15 kilometers before it was detonated by the operator. So it's really, really interesting. It's just it just snuck up, sat down on the thing, and then they just waited for a little while before it detonated. Now, here's one more thing. Drones are improving. Drone battery breakthrough, same weight, and remember, weight's very critical for drones. 77% more efficiency, several times the range. Okay, so as that happens, the battlefield, let me say, demilitarized zone, that's not the right word, but you understand what I'm saying. Like there's a place in the battlefield where neither side can cross and it's just dominated by drones, is going to get wider. It'll create a moat between the combating forces. Okay, no matter how hard the road gets, I'll leave you with this, my friends. Keep morale high. Good thing to see the Ukrainian soldiers here having a good time, as they're just, they deserve it. They're in it's a difficult place. All right, my friends, that's all that I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.